Hey, when you guys first came here, you talked about, you know, you guys' reputation for turnovers, creating chaos, fumbles, that type of thing. You had a big night against Duke. I imagine you're looking forward to carry that momentum over to the last three games.
Yeah, you cut out just you're kind of in and out right there, Rod. But I think you asked about takeaways and just kind of carrying the momentum. Um, Amen. That would be my quote. We've been obviously searching and looking for a night. Um, um, it has not. Am I good? Okay. Am I good, guys?
You don't need to lean in. You can just stand.
Okay, yeah. I got you. Just he was cutting in and out. It sounds so silent now. We've been waiting on one of those nights. It has not been because of lack of emphasis or lack of practice time dedicated or lack of film time dedicated to takeaways. We probably give it service on these media opportunities as much as possible. This is part of our identity, part of our DNA. It's part of what we preach every single day in our defensive culture. So it was great to see it happen. They were willed at times. There was one where they were able to hit a gap power, and they caught us on a seam. We did a nice job of defending inside seams, but David Curry took an opportunity in a trained moment to punch the ball out when the ball carrier had it in a near hand. So those are the things that we were most pleased with. When a quarterback throws it behind the line of scrimmage and Antoine Owens is able to just go pick the football up and have good awareness, that's awesome. And sometimes takeaways just come in waves. But the way that we got them, the forced fumbles relative to just going up and having an elite playmaker make an interception, those are all cool, and any takeaway will take them. But the way that we got them by creating forced fumbles. The message after the game as well, we lined up all of the clips where we had ball attack show up on film. So that is us when someone has already thudded up, extra guys in, secondary, tertiary guys coming into the ball and stripping and ripping. It took 20 opportunities to get 3 forced fumbles to get us to the 5 for those to happen. So really, really pleased with the guys' mentality. Again, we talked about attack mentality. And then in our meetings through the course of the week, we started this week with NC State as we got going this morning. But we show opportunities, what they did wrong in putting the football on the ground, where other teams missed opportunities, and where we can create those opportunities. So again, it's awesome, it's great. We got those things, but I'm so pleased with the way that the guys attacked the football through the course of the game to get us to those moments.
So NC State's been scoring a lot of points in a lot of different games this year against a lot of different teams, and obviously you guys have some defensive momentum now too. I imagine you're kind of curious, and what do you see from NC State when you look at them, and then trying to carry some momentum too into this game?
Sure. So I see another fast operation. So point totals go up the more snaps you have. Obviously, they've got to sustain some success, but they have a high play count number because of the tempo, the rate at which they go. Beck, the off score, he does a phenomenal job of having an identity on offense, having base plays, and then dressing them up every week formationally, movement-wise, final formation, starting something and then end up in final formations that I think that his guys have collective rep set. He does a great job of complementing plays. And at the end of the day, when offenses are playing well, why are they playing well? They're playing well because of the quarterbacks handling the game at a high rate. They've gone through 3 over the course of the season, and then 16. Hochman had an opportunity to start the season, didn't start on fire. They found a lot of success with 13 Leary. Then he gets knocked out, and now they've had a good little consistent streak. Bailey Hochman has had an opportunity to get a nice rhythm with the offense. They've had success. They've won a lot of close games. So I think they have offensive momentum in general. Again, back to play calling, does a great job of balancing run pass, does a great job of complementing plays and then dressing up what he does every week. But at the end of the day, they're running the football with 2 running backs. They've got a 3rd complementary piece, and then they're catching the football. I know that sounds very silly, but they are catching the football. They've got very good ball skills out on the perimeter. They're not a team that you just see on film where they're just running by you with elite speed and running around in space, but they've got very good dominant catch skills out on the perimeter, and those guys are making contested catches. So when a quarterback's building confidence, when he's in rhythm, when his receivers are making contested catches right there, and they can complement it with a run, they've got a lot of momentum, and the task is high.
Question from Ken Segura from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Hey, Andrew, I was wondering, what did you see with the run defense, who obviously played a lot better than it had previously?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, to answer your question, we didn't allow vertical seams, which really helped us. And so what I mean by that, a lot of that is complemented by the interior defensive line. So they did a great job of understanding what were the dominant runs that Duke had, and then they closed the interior gaps. We had to do that quite a bit with movement. So Coach Knight, Coach Coleman, and the defensive line did a great job of handling interior movement. They played with their hands, and they played with square shoulder pads. So again, you guys had asked a lot, how did we invest our time over that 28-day period? That was where the health, the technique, the scheme, the small little things was able to pay off for those guys playing square shoulder pads, playing with dominant hands, and then they played hard. Quite frankly, they played hard. We tackled well. There were very few. When I watched, I've got Dave sitting over here beside me, but when I saw us rip off runs, not to antagonize Duke, but there were a lot of missed tackles by defenders reaching and grabbing at elite running backs, at JP and Dante and Jameer. I was very pleased with our guys, the way that they tackled, the violence of their upper body, the compression, and then not allowing just interior space. So everything was nice and compressed inside to not allow interior seams. Once it got out to the perimeter, we've done a good job of chasing things down. We've got guys that have good effort to the football, but interior run game was where we made the biggest strides. So compliments to the interior guys, defensive linemen that don't get enough love. Compliments to Coach Knight and Coach Coleman for establishing the line of scrimmage.
Another question from the AJC, this time from Bailey Johnson.
Hey, Andrew. I'm just wondering, now that you've sort of seen most of the other ACC teams either in games or on film, what your impressions are of sort of the league picture this year and where you think y'all fit in.
Wow, that's a big question. We're ridiculously optimistic about the way that we approach every single week. It's kind of played itself out through the course of the season. The cream has risen to the top. The teams that we probably felt going into weeks that are the toughest teams have risen to the top. But that middle of the ACC pack, is as competitive. It's got as much parity as maybe any league out there. And we feel like any given game we can go out and if we play, when we play, we will play our best football. We're as good as anybody in that framework. So you're going through now teams having 8 games, having 9 games, having a pretty good resume to show who they are. We obviously need to create consistency after having a positive week this week, so we can show that we're as competitive as anyone in the league.
Time for a couple more for Coach Thacker. First one from Rod McKenzie.
Hey, Andrew, going back to Bailey Hochman, you see some similarities with Chase Bryce in that he's not a very productive runner. Does that give you guys a better idea of how you can bring pressure, knowing that he's not going to be a major threat to run?
It does. I don't want to understate his escapability. He's a left-handed quarterback, has a different framework where you work attacking that side of the football now this week. But he does have escapability, he has savvy, he has awareness, and does a nice job on tape of not just taking sacks. Are there going to be a ton of design runs with him? Is he Derrick King? He is not. That's not how they use him. They use him as a game operator, as a utility guy to get the ball out and facilitate to his skill guys and establish a deal. So anytime there's not just a designated quarterback run guy, it allows us to take advantage of that schematically. So.
Question from Kelly Quinlan from Rivals.
Hey, Andrew, I was curious about Derrick Allen and Reek in particular. Both played really well for you guys, and you had them out there together at safety, and then also your 4-man pass rush, which was probably the best all season it's been.
Yeah. Very, very, very pleased with Derrick Allen and the progress that he's made through the course of the season. He was someone that was not, I don't want to say not pleased, but he wanted a bigger role earlier in the season. And I think week by week he's earned that. Arguably played his best games. He's flashed at moments. He is as talented as anybody on this team, and maybe any safety in the league as far as his movement patterns and what he can do with his top end skill. But the mental piece, the consistency piece, just his practice habits and him earning the right to get reps on Saturday has continued to increase every week. So that's the cool part of it. He's practiced better, and that makes him play better. Obviously, he earns the reps, but he's playing well. There was I want to put this on record so DA don't get mad at me, but when he first got here, We did not know about his physicality. We didn't doubt it. You just didn't know. And then I think he's earned a reputation as someone that will come in and be a physical tackler as well. It was good to see Derrick make those plays. And Reek, because of his body type, he is a big, violent dude. When he makes plays, oftentimes they're splashy plays. He had the interception. David Curry tipped the ball up. He had the interception. And obviously those are big-time plays. But the way that he tackled, just the power that he can create, the force that he can create out on the perimeter. Again, we were doing a nice job in the interior, so it was bouncing out, and he was making some perimeter tackles. And they're as impressive and as powerful and as forceful of tackles as you'll see out of a safety. So really pleased. So he gained confidence, and like all young men and like a lot of players, I think when Tariq Carpenter is playing with confidence like he did on Saturday, it is a good result. And then everything starts to go your way a little bit. You start to trust everything. You start to play with your eyes, and at that point, his skill can take over. Both of those guys are very skilled. Who else did you ask me? You asked me about the 4-minute stunt, Kelly. Where have we picked up the most sacks? Football is a complementary game. We picked up our most sacks in Louisville and picked up our most sacks in Duke. So when they've had to be in past situations, when we've had leads and we've had an opportunity to get in 2-minute type situations, our guys have had an opportunity to go rush, and they've taken advantage of those. So I definitely attribute that to just complementary football and team effort right there. But I'm happy and pleased with those guys. They were able to again establish the line of scrimmage, running the football foremost. That then allows them opportunities to get after the quarterback a little bit. We had Kilo Stone, one of our 4 true freshmen that played on the defensive line with real active reps, not in any waste time. They're playing within the framework of the game when it matters, and he was able on an interior stunt to get a sack. And then we had a couple of big plays out of Jordan Dominic showing that at times he can be our most dominant pass rusher when he's playing at his peak level.